everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute little chicken inspired by rilakkuma. This is a super easy pattern and it's perfect for beginners. So before we start with this pattern, please make sure that you have all of the correct materials. First, you'll be needing some yellow yarn. The size that I'm using is 4 medium. Next, you'll be needing some orange or dark yellow yarn, could also work, and some black yarn. So this will be for the beak and this will be for the feet and hair. A 5mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, a stitch marker, a yarn needle, 6mm safety eyes, and some stuffing. To start this pattern, we're going to make a magic circle. So to do this, you're going to place your yarn at the 2 fingers mark. You're going to wrap it around your fingers and then make an X. Then you're going to make 2 parallel lines on the back of your fingers and then secure that. So on the front of your fingers, you should have an X, and on the back, you should have 2 parallel lines. Now you're going to take your hook, make sure that your hook part is facing down. You're going to go under the first strand, hook the second strand, gently pull, and then make a twist. Now you want to make sure that your hook is facing up, and you're going to go under this strand of yarn over here. You're going to hook it, and then bring the strand of yarn into the loop that you just made. So I like to twist down as I go, and then scoop it through the loop. Like so. Now if you let go of your hand, you should have a little circle like this. So this is the magic circle. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit so that the circle is smaller and it's easier to work with. Now we're going to single crochet 6 into this circle. And to do a single crochet, you're going to take your hook, bring it into the circle, and then this strand of yarn in the back, you're going to hook it and bring it forward into the magic circle. So now you have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, so just placing the yarn over your hook. Now you're going to bring this piece of yarn into both loops. So once again, just scooping that in like so. And there is your first single crochet. So I'm going to do this 5 more times to get a total of 6 single crochets into my magic circle. So once I have my 6 single crochets in my magic circle, I'm going to pull on this little tail over here. So I'm going to remove my hook first, and when you pull on this tail, it will close that circle in the middle, or that hole in the middle. And then you're left with this nice little tight disc. So now I'm going to place my hook back in, and then we're going to finish this round off with a slip stitch. So you're going to find your first braid over here. You're going to place your hook under both sides of the braid and then just wiggle your hook through. Now to do a slip stitch, you're going to take this piece of yarn and just bring it into all the loops. So like that. And now you are done with round 1. Before I start round 2, I'm going to place my stitch marker in the last braid that I just made. So that way when I crochet around, I know that this is the last braid I'm supposed to be working into. So I'm going to place my hook back in. And now for round 2, we're going to be doing 6 increases all around. So to do an increase, we're going to find our next braid over here. We're going to first do a regular single crochet. So we're going to go under both sides of the braid. We're going to bring a loop forward. So bring the yarn forward. So now you have 2 loops on your hook. and then you're going to bring this piece of yarn into both loops. So that is one single crochet. To do an increase, you're going to go in the exact same hole that you just worked into, so under the exact same braid, and you're going to do another single crochet. So I'm going to go under the same hole, bring a loop up, and then yarn over, then pull it through both loops. So now, as you can see here, we have 2 braids that have been done. So each braid is a stitch that we did. So technically we've only worked into 1 stitch, but we made 2 stitches, and that is an increase. So I'm going to do 5 more increases to get a total of 6, and then we'll be ready for round 3. The next 4 rounds are what I call repeat rounds because you're essentially doing the exact same thing for the next couple of rounds. So for rounds 3, 4, 5, and 6, we're just going to be doing single crochets all around for 12 stitches. So looking for our next braid over here, we're going to go under both sides, bring the yarn forward, so now you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and then bring this piece of yarn into both loops. So I'm going to keep doing this until I reach back to my stitch marker. Since round 4 is the exact same, I'm not going to explain, I'm just going to continue on doing single crochets all around. Round 5, once again, 12 single crochets all around. Okay, I'm going to place my stitch marker back in and then go ahead and do the final round, which is round 6. Before we start the last round, which is round 7, we're going to place our safety eyes. So taking your safety eyes, you're going to flip your project around, and then you're going to place your safety eyes between rounds 3 and 4. So if I count from the top, this counts as the first round, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to place my eyes between 3 and 4. And I like to have my eyes about 2 stitches apart. And now we are ready to do the last round. For our last round, we're going to be doing 6 decreases all around. And for this pattern, I'm doing invisible decreases, so we're only going to be using the front loops only. So to do an invisible decrease, you're going to find your next 2 braids, and then you're going to work through the front loop only. So up until this point, we've been using both sides of the braid like this, but to do an invisible decrease, you're only going to be using the front loop. So you can also think of it like you're taking your hook, you're going from the bottom into the middle of the braid, like so. And now instead of working into one stitch, we're going to be working into 2 stitches at the same time. So you're going to take your hook and you're going to bring it into the front loop of the second braid as well. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and then bring this piece of yarn into the first 2 loops only, like so. And now you're left with 2 loops. You're going to yarn over and then bring this piece of yarn into both loops, like so. So now even though we worked into 2 stitches, we only made 1 braid, and that is an invisible decrease. So I'm going to do this 5 more times until we get a total of 6 decreases all around. Alrighty, since that was our last round, I'm going to take my hook out and we'll no longer be needing the stitch marker, so I'm going to set that aside. And then you're going to take your stuffing and start stuffing your little chicken. Next, you're going to cut your yarn. So I like to cut it around this much, just enough for you to sew this hole shut. Okay, and now you're done with the body of this chicken. So let's set this aside and then move on to the next steps. To make the wings, we're going to once again start with a magic circle. So keeping the yarn at the 2 fingers mark, wrapping it around to make an X, and then 2 parallel lines. Then you're going to once again take your hook, go underneath the first strand, hook the second, make a twist, and then hook this piece of yarn over here, and then bring it into the loop. Then I'm going to close my circle a little bit. And now all we have to do is single crochet 2 into the magic circle. So going into the magic circle, bringing a loop forward. So now you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and then bring it through both. Then once again, for our second single crochet, and you're done with the wing. So I'm going to take my hook out, and all you have to do is just pull on your tail now to close up this open circle right here. And then I'm going to cut. For this one, I'm going to cut relatively longer because we'll be needing enough yarn to sew onto the body. And now we're going to sew the wings onto the side of the body. Now you're going to repeat for the second wing. Now we're going to do the finishing touches for this chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and do the beak first. So I'm going to point my needle to where I want the mouth to start, and then gently pull just so you can only see a little bit of orange left. I like to loop my beak in twice just because my yarn is thinner. So I'm going to do that 2 times over here. Now we're going to make the feet and the hair. So starting with the feet, you're going to point it to where you want your feet to be. And you want to point relatively low, so as close to the bottom row as you possibly can. And here you want to leave a little bit of gap right here, just so it sticks out a little bit. And then you're going to do the same for the other side. Okay, next we're going to make the hair. So I'm going to point my needle to where I want the hair to be. So pretty much right in the middle, or actually, I'm gonna do it in front, right here. So not exactly in the middle, but a little in the front. And then you're going to kind of make a twist to make the two sides come together a little bit. And then you're just going to go ahead and cut it right down the middle, or right along the length of how much you want your hair to be. And then you're just going to fluff it up. So I like to just press down on it, and then these little strands within your yarn will kind of start to break apart, which looks so much like hair. And you're done with your little baby chicken. And that is your finished chicken. So I definitely stuffed my project a little too much this time around because it looks more like a ball than anything, but it's okay. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, do give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more tutorials like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Other than that, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope I'll see you in another tutorial.